Yes, for all.
Now we just hope that thing doesn't work.
Open the meeting to the public.
Any comments from the public? Any questions? Okay. Treasurer Letourneau, is there any additions or deletions to the bills?
We have one addition, it's the Simply Prescriptions Group, amount of $6,503.79, it's the monthly bill.
I make a motion to pay the bills as amended.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Is there any correspondence today?
Want to back up to the minutes first?
Oh.
Previous
Minutes of previous meeting. Any questions? Can I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any correspondence today?
Yes, we received a letter from FEMA, which I put into everybody's board packet, because it was just so surprising. This is the grant that we had submitted, that we were told they would cover 75% of our COVID costs for cleaning supplies and that sort of stuff. And then they turned around and said that they're actually going to cover 100%
Oh, really?
of those
Oh.
supplies instead of 75%.
That's good.
So yes, that was some good news to get. And that's all the correspondence.
Okay. I'll mute my phone. There we go. So we got a lot on the agenda today. Resolution 2021-04 polling places. Is your copy already fixed, or because you put Bath as the mayor on here?
Yeah, it is fixed, and you don't have to read that part.
Okay. Whereas the next general election for officers in the village of Rouses Point shall be held on March 16, 2021, and whereas the board of trustees is required by section 15104, subparagraph 3 of election law to adopt a resolution designating polling places, the hours of the poll shall be open and names of those nominated. Therefore, be resolved, the Board of Trustees, Village of Rouses Point, designates the polling place to be Halsted Hall, Rouses Point Civic Center, 39 Lake Street, Rouses Point, New York, 12979. The hours during which polls shall be open will be 12 noon until 9 p.m. And if the candidates nominated for office in accordance to provision Article 15 of Village Election Law are Dale Menard and Joseph Rodriguez, both of Rouses Point. Be it further resolved, the village clerk is hereby directed to publish this resolution in full in the Press Republican and to post a copy of this resolution in at least 6 conspicuous places within the village on or before March 6th, and a copy be placed at the polling place. The resolution shall take effect immediately. Questions of the foregoing are duly put to vote on roll call. Trustee Dale Menard is absent today. Trustee Arno?
Aye.
Trustee Dart? No, that's
Pelkey.
Trustee Pelkey.
Aye.
Trustee Gadway?
Aye.
And Mayor votes aye. Next resolution is 2021-05, which is complete streets. Do I need to read this entire thing?
Everyone has a copy of it, and we did have it at another board meeting. Do you want it read, or are you guys okay with that?
Fine with it. I just have a
Fine.
question.
Okay.
I have a question on the second page where it says the Village of Rouses Point and the Rouses Point Planning Board. Should
Right.
that say the Zoning Board of Appeals?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, our son already pointed that out.
okay. So that can be corrected.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm fine.
Do you have a question, Ben?
No, I'm all
Trustee
set.
Arno? Okay.
Yeah, I'm all set.
So with the correction in there, do we have a motion for this?
I'll second it, or I'll make a motion,
I'll second.
correct it as read.
Yes?
I make a motion. right?
Yeah, I said I second.
Oh, I thought you
And he also said he second too.
Oh.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Roll call vote, please.
call.
Roll call vote for this one. Trustee Arno,
Aye.
trustee Gadway,
Aye.
trustee Pelkey,
Aye.
and Mayor Thone votes aye. Okay. Wastewater superintendent truck.
You have an additional resolution, remember? The
Oh, yes, the budget resolution,
budget
which
resolution.
wasn't in my, Treasurer Arsen has this budget resolution he would like to have passed. Are there any questions about this? The resolution shall take effect immediately. I make a motion to approve this resolution for the budget.
Second.
Trustee Arno,
Aye.
trustee Gadway,
Aye.
trustee Pelkey,
Aye.
mayor votes aye. Okay, that takes care of the resolutions. Danny has come, the superintendent of the water and sewer has come up with a plan to replace his current truck. He's got a truck picked out. Susan, you did put that in the mailbox, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So he's got a truck picked out, and the plan is to surplus the current truck and put it up for auction for a minimum bid of $25,000, which would cover most of the cost of the new truck.
The only question I have is, you just can't go pick out a truck. We have to go out to bid. And it could be Ford, Chevy, it could be Dodge, it could be anybody that's going to bid on it. So are you going to surplus the truck and sell it and not have a truck for a while until the new budget goes into effect?
No, we would surplus the truck. He's already got one picked out on state contract, which only requires one source. He's already got it picked out, so what we would do is we would surplus this. He gets to use it until it gets, the bid on the truck gets accepted. So when we surplus it, it goes out for auction. We use the online auction site for as wide an audience as possible. If we get an auction, a bid for over $25,000, we can accept it. If we don't accept it. If we get the auction over $25,000, then we send the truck out and we purchase the new one using the money that's already in reserve for the new truck, plus the money we get from the auction, which should only come out to about a difference of plus minus $2,000. Because you already picked out a truck for, I don't have it in front of me. Does anyone else have it in front
I
of
put
them?
it in your mailboxes last week.
The truck shows $29,407.
Yeah,
Right.
we should get it about that or very close.
We've never done this before, and usually we budget it,
Hmm.
and is the tentative budget done?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that it is done, yes. We're still missing the library.
So I'm just, is the sewer rates, is the wastewater rates going to stay the same, or, how's our funds?
Yeah, this wouldn't change it because there's already, I think there's, I don't have the number in front of me, but there's about 5,000 or 6,000 already in the reserves for the truck for the water sewer plant. So if we get a bid on the current truck for 25, then what we already have as a reserve would cover the rest.
What if we don't get a bid for $25,000?
We don't have to accept, we don't have to sell the truck. Because the idea would be having a minimum bid of 25, so if no one bids for that, then we just don't do the plan. So you would
Myself, I think we should at least see what our budget is going to be, our tentative budget. We might not even be able to afford a truck this year, even if it's $2,000. We can't pass these rate increases to our residents. if you had a good handle on what the budget is, on what's in the reserve accounts and how the budget is, I would agree with it, but not knowing what the budget is, I don't like to buy anything like that. I mean, that's my personal feeling.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
It's just my personal feeling. To me, I like to have the money before I buy it.
Arsen, do you know how much is in the reserve? Off the top of your head or no?
No, I forgot my budget this evening, but I mean, you can't just go and spend reserve money. You have to go through a certain process.
Right.
You have to, it's subject to this referendum and stuff. You have to wait 30 days from the time the resolution is
Yeah, this is more of me bringing this up, because this is a plan Denny has, so that we can get a new truck by trading in the old one, without having to save up $30,000 or something. We can trade in the old one. It'd be a longer process than just this. This is the general idea. We trade it in, auction it off, and then instead of saving $30,000 for a new truck, every 2 years we cycle these out for less than 5.
No, it is a good plan.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we can afford it, you know what I'm saying?
Make sure
It's
we've
just-
got the ducks
Right.
lined up. I just wanted to bring this up as a thing we can.
Oh, okay, so you're not looking
This,
for
not looking for a motion.
motion or anything, okay,
Yeah.
for discussion.
Yeah, this is for
Okay,
discussion.
no, that's excellent,
Yeah.
because I'm sure we're gonna have budget meetings to go over the tentative budget.
Yeah.
So we can at least put our thoughts and views in it.
Yep. And if this works for the sewer plant, water sewer plant, we can repeat this for other departments as well in the future.
The only concern I have with the wastewater plant is I know that they're having a generator problem up there,
Yeah.
and that's a big ticketed item. And that kind of worries me about the cost.
Yeah, because all their generators for, like all the for all the,
Well, the one up there, you can't get parts for anymore, where the other ones you still can get parts for.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of makes me a little nervous with the one at the wastewater plant. It's original when the plant was built, and
Yeah.
they just can't get parts for it anymore,
So
so.
back in '86, so.
86, so you're talking, I don't know what the dollar amount, I don't know if we talked to you about dollar amount of
it's about 50,000.
$50,000 to replace that generator.
Yeah.
And that's not the only 1986 generator we have. All the substations for the sub pumps are
Right.
about as old. I think the only one that's even remotely near new is the water plant.
The water plant, the water tank, and the south end pump station's a little bit newer than what the Maple Street and the north end are.
Yeah.
And we got a bunch of old generators. Okay. I was also going through the code book, and I've noticed it's really out of date with things such as, there's still laws in the books relating to a beach that we no longer have. There's laws in the books that ban automatic alarm systems, but we have automatic alarm systems for fire in the village. And there's also laws on the book that I question if they're enforced at all, because there's a law on people going door to door and selling things out of their car, that they have to get permits for that, and I'm not even sure if that's enforced at all in any way, shape, or form.
I know some people usually come into the village and stuff, and they go into the village office and get a permit.
A peddler's
Peddler's
permit.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because people usually turn them in. If there's somebody going around the village selling stuff, somebody will call up the village and say somebody's going around selling stuff, and so they usually have somebody, I don't know if the code enforcement officer does that or what.
No, I just got into that, involved in that today, and peddlers are peddlers, but if it's somebody selling farm stuff, we have no control over that. That's an ag deal.
Yeah.
And they don't need a permit or anything if they're selling like blueberries or something like that. I just talked to Sue about that just before the meeting here, and I had to look it up today, but if somebody comes in that town to peddle, they're supposed to get a peddler's license. The only ones that are exempt is 82-80-2, and it says that they're selling farm produce and things like that. This is a legal thing.
Vegetables and
Vegetables,
garden,
you know.
garden vegetables.
Well, we don't really have that many, seriously.
Yeah.
No, because I had a meeting with someone looking to start a new business in the village, and I brought that code up with them, saying that if they need to do, depending what they're doing, they need to get a peddler's permit, because they want to make a trailer that can be towed around to be brought over to the rec center for special events and parked out in front of the coffee shop. And I told them to get a hold of you, Cooper.
Yep. Well, he hasn't contacted me yet. The only one that has, as I said, but Sue and I just told her about it. There is a gentleman Must have come to Russell's Point and sell veggies and things up on Champlain Street. But that's an open one.
Okay. It also came to my attention today that B&L helps with comprehensive plans for villages. So this kind of segues into that because I need to talk to the zoning planning board. I just only found out about it today. But they've got a consultation budget, so we can work with, if the planning and zoning is interested, we can work with B&L to come up with a comprehensive plan for the future of the village and update some of these old codes.
Is that something that has to be done through the attorney?
Yeah, updating the codes.
Everything has to be done through the attorney? So we could do section by section of, maybe go through and figure out the ones like you were saying that are outdated and that we don't use, eliminate them, I'll try to, try not to do the whole thing in one,
Yeah.
one setting, but.
You're talking a lot every time, you're talking a lot of money every time you change the local law.
Yeah.
Yeah, because to print that code book is $1,000 or something, isn't it?
It's not that, it's illegal.
Yep.
When you change the code, there's a big legal process that has to be gone through. It takes about 6 months to change anything.
You gotta go through it and gotta be filed with the Secretary of State.
That's probably why they haven't done it.
Possibly why.
Yeah.
But there should be a way to take stuff out of it rather than adding, you would think, if it doesn't,
That's something for your attorney thing, isn't it?
yeah.
I don't know if it costs just as much to take it out as it does to put it in, but.
Oh, probably.
Probably. An update's an update. It'd be best to update as much of it all at once and only have to print it once instead of doing a bunch of small ones. That's all. Okay, so also the phase 1 study has come in. Thankfully, everyone has the short version here, but I went through all 400 some odd pages. And everything that was in it was stuff that happened around the property, nothing on the property. They have aerial photos going all the way back to like 1920, 1930s from the plane that flew over, and there's been no development since then, as far back as they've seen it. This has been a field for as far back as they can go. They didn't find anything in particular with that property that was any concern.
That was that K&S study?
Yep. I don't know if there's a resolution with this, or?
No, it's just part of the purchase.
Went all the way back to 1895. There's no action that's required on this, so take it home, read it, and come back to the next meeting. Any questions, we get them answered. Okay. Request an executive session to discuss employment history of a particular employee.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All, request an executive session to discuss employment history of a particular employee.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Trustee Arno?
I don't have nothing in electric or nothing in EMS.
Trustee Gadway?
Just a minute, I ain't done that, sorry. I have one other thing. I'd like to thank Jared Turner for putting them paintings in the old Armin's windows. And also, he put some history on one of the paintings of the Holland. He did a very good job, and it's all lit up at night. And people can go by, and I see a lot of people stopping and looking at them. And we have a couple more up to the railroad station. He said he'll change them in and out after a while. And I'd like to thank him again. It was a nice job. That's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Gadway?
I'd like to request executive session to discuss the employment history of a particular employee.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I spoke with Ethan, the new skate sharpener is in, and it's working correctly, and they figured out how to use it. So, they were using skate sharpen, he's one to go see now. And that's all I have tonight.
I got one other one. I'd like to do an executive session on, the employment of a history of a particular person, employee.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Trustee Pelkey?
Yes, I have a couple things. I'd like to talk about the local law. It's a moratorium on electric boilers. It is, it runs out in April. I'd like to know what the board's feelings are about it, if we should extend it or put it into a local law rather than a moratorium.
I agree, I think we should.
There's a study that was mentioned in there to be done to make it a permanent law. That study hasn't been done, to my knowledge, because I asked Susan for it, she didn't know where it was, and I haven't heard anything, so we have to extend it before we can make it an actual local law, because otherwise, with no study to back it.
So I make a motion then that we extend the moratorium. for
I think
another
we'll have to
18.
get
I
Tom
think this would
Renee
require
to
Tom Renee.
Oh,
involved in that.
That's why I was hoping you'd be here tonight.
no.
So I'll bring it up at the next meeting.
And I can get whatever paperwork we need for that meeting.
Okay. I need an executive session to discuss possible litigation against a utility customer.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
No. Other reports?
Just look, right, tell everybody to get the rest of their budget sheets in.
I've already emailed everybody.
I know, but it's not helping me any, because I know you did that last week.
Is there budget sheets for historian?
I have, I filled them.
Oh, you filled them out? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the fire department is in your mailbox, and so is Public Works.
Okay.
So that, I think, leaves library.
That's Dale, huh? Used to be me, Dale.
Yeah, it's Dale now, Library and Welcome Center. And he's not here today.
Welcome Center, Bob St. John passed them. I give them to Bob St. John's. I don't know, did he give them back to you? I'll call Bob St. John's tomorrow.
They're supposed to go to the commissioner, whoever the commissioner is.
Any public comments? Short recess to go into executive session.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Stream off.
I'd like to have you stay here, if you don't mind. I'd like to have Adam stay here.